Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support said they're coming out Tuesday for sure this time. We'll see. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. This is, I guess, considered part 3. I added a little movie here to the startup ideas for the tar pits. So that's the only thing I've been edited a little bit tonight. Here, so I'm going to just continue on a little bit. Programming is a boring, dirty job. I mean, people think it's like, oh my God, it's the most funnest thing ever. No, it's a lot of time by yourself, looking at documentation, trying to figure out why something doesn't work because you don't quite understand it because the API is a little odd and just strange or doing something you didn't expect or not documented. So there's a lot of that in modern software. It didn't used to be that bad, but now it's recently, that's what it is. So it is kind of fun to learn it at first when you're doing the tutorials and someone like lays it out for you. But once you get in and trying to like actually do the thing you want it to do, it's always a mess. And it's kind of just been that way the whole time. So I'm assuming that if you're going to be going into something new, you're going to be dealing with that. If you've already done the same senior roles, if you're down here in the fake agile doom or you're doing the dungeon grind, probably don't know what I'm talking about. Like, it's like you already know what you want, what's to be done. Okay, but this is a different thing. We're trying to chink the armor of this, find the chink in the armor of this guy here, this dragon. So some key characteristics of ADD. So this is just some of the notes. Again, this is just my first rough draft. No, not rough draft. This is the first draft of some of the ideas I want to put in people's minds about how to think about some of this stuff. So it's customer-focused exploration. So everything that we're doing, the developers should be getting personally involved. I know the developers are talking to the customers. What? No. There should be a customer. Usually it's a power user customer that usually the team will already know somehow because it's whoever brought this idea has someone somewhere in mind that can be located and talked to and presented with this stuff saying, hey, you think about this? Hey, you think about that? And they should be available often and be kind of involved because we're probably going to be the first ones using this stuff. So, and, you know, if they've been identified as a paying customer, kind of should show them often as much as possible. The developers should have them on the Zoom calls and say, hey, I need to call you in the morning, or do you have time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to show you this little thing? It doesn't have to be this long, drawn out, multiple people. Just one-on-one thing. Just how the same way developers, when we're on a team together, we'll just talk together. We won't get anybody else involved because it's not necessary. The customer should be that level of contact with the developers. Developers usually just want a quick just touch base kind of thing. Sometimes it's more extended, but that's the idea. So, and you're giving it's strong. The whole thing is a courage based. Like, I'm gonna define what I mean here. To have the courage to experiment and get things that probably may not be exactly right. So you're a designer, if you have a designer on there, or if it's just the developer who's doing the design himself, or working with a designer, there's a lot of it's just mucking around, guessing. We're just guessing. The customer doesn't tell us, okay? We have to tell the customer, and they go, no, kind of, or I didn't think that, or I thought that. It's like, the only response, this is the thing I've discovered, is, through doing all this stuff, is they only know if they like it or not if it's already been presented to them. And not just a mock-up on a screen. Eventually, it's going to have to be something they can play with and dink around with. And that's the best way to get to if it's really going to be the thing, it's a lot of this stuff. So developers that are talking to the customer is cool. Like, usually developers, they don't really like talking about much else. But if they're talking about the thing they're working on, they're kind of into it. It's kind of fun to talk to customers. I don't know. I think it's fun. And we learn from the failures, right? I hate that word. I wish there was a different word in English that it wasn't so like harsh, but it's just like, I think it didn't work out. Okay, that didn't quite hit but there was somewhere around there, or was it completely off? Like, it's still information. You're getting information back. A lot of this stuff is like trying to figure out what it is we're trying to build for the people that they actually want and will pay for. That's all. This is where we're going with this. Learning from failure. So continuously experimenting and learning is a fundamental aspect of ADD. It's like the fundamentals. Developers are expected to be curious and always seeking new knowledge and testing their assumptions against the real world. That means calling the customer, making a test build, doing a UI sketch, having a sketch on a little piece of paper or on one of these diagrams. It doesn't have to be this whole big complicated thing, but it has to be something solid that someone can say yes or no or maybe or sort of or kind of or do this differently, do that over there, and then you just iterate on top of that. So there's no confusion about which way we're going or how far we've been. So adaptability and change. So that's the thing is, we throw that away, it didn't work, I go out to another one. If you're stuck, you go, damn it, this thing is not working. Sleep on it. There's a lot of stuff that happens that's not happening at work, right? That when we're in the shower, waking up, going to bed, taking it easy, sleeping in a little bit, and all of a sudden we wake up and bing, it's done. Instead of pulling an all-nighter, you pull an early-nighter and go home, sleep, and let the freaking subconscious mind do its thing. And I don't know how it works. Don't ask me how it works, but it does work a lot. And it works great. And I know I don't want to go to bed. I want to figure it out now. It's like, no, you sometimes just come to a point. It's just like, you can't do anymore. The stuff is super complicated. Having everything put together, customer demands and technologies and all the stuff that you have to know how to do. It's tiring. And then your brain just goes, nope, I'm good. It won't do anymore. And we have to accept that that's just a thing. But when you go let it go drop into the subconscious, it doesn't all pressured. Oh, we're going to get up for the stand-up in the meeting. Ah. When that pressure is kind of let go, this other genius takes over. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I just know it's happened a ton of times that I go to bed super frustrated, thinking like, I don't know how something works. And all of a sudden I wake up, I know exactly how it works. So take advantage of that. It's a little fact by not burning out your developers. Collaboration and customer focus. So yeah, so it's your working together as a team. We're all talking to these people. And it has to be a real customer, someone that's actually going to be paying for it. Not just the project manager. Okay, no, I'm not mentioning project managers and any of this stuff, by the way. That's not really a thing. If the project manager should be trained to do something else, like maybe UI work, some UX work, some psychology stuff. Maybe they're the one that talks to does the more interactions and shows the sketches, and the developer might be working with a designer, and the developer's like. But the more you get the developer involved, I know it's really it should be coding. Like that is coding. This whole thing of like getting the requirements is like the big part of it. Now there might be stretches of time. We don't need to talk to the customer. We kind of understand. We just need to build the thing. But there's other types. It's like, okay, we need to like fast feedback and talking and I don't like that. I like that. All that stuff. So corrigative explorability methodology. It's easy for you to say. So I'm smashing together the word courageous and creative. So it's like takes courage to risk your ego. That to not be right, okay? Your ego is not going to be right most of the time. It takes courage, right? Because it's not just you, right? It's other people on teams like, you didn't do it right. It's like, yeah, but at least I'm trying. Babe Ruth hitting the ball, he's a home run king. He's also the strikeout king, okay? So a lot of the stuff that happens that you will see the results of is the results of many, 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 many iterations of the whatever the thing is you're looking at. Like what was his name? Which is Steve Jobs. Okay, he rehearsed all those presentations. It looked so slick and so amazing. Look, there's the right timing. Right, he rehearsed those like 100 times. He admitted. Now it probably wasn't 100, probably 60 or 90, 40, 90, depending on which one it was. You better believe there was a time he did 100. Not every time, but pretty much every time. So will you do that enough iterations on that stuff? And you have harsh critics going, what about this? What about that? And like you're changing it and molding it, and you're totally into doing that, and that's your thing. Oh, you better believe at the end of it, you're going to get a lot more refined exactly what the frick the thing is that you're trying to do. Yeah, so that's the whole idea is you want to rev up the number of interactions with the real world, with the mountain, with the dragon, you want to maximize the number of interactions with the monsters, because you don't know where. First of all, you These are monsters. You don't really know what they are. How they are. A lot of times you're encountering for the first time. It's like, well, where's the armor? Where's the chinks? What kind of things can it bite me with? What can, these are monsters, right? But these are customer requirements, right? It's just another way of thinking about what you're dealing with. And it's like, instead of being like, oh, customer requirements, it's like we're dealing with a monster here, and it's gonna bite me, and it's gonna try and take me down. And you can think of it this way. It's fun. Okay, it's fun to think of it this way. It's not tiring, taxing, like you expect it to be something else. No, we're in a fight for our lives. We're in a fight for our lives, boys. And it's like this monster's not gonna give up. We're gonna win, right? We're gonna try. If we don't, well, that's the end of us, right? So we're gonna try and beat this motherfucker. That's all. This is just a mindset. It's a mindset. It's not real. Don't let the customer know that this is kind of your play. I mean, maybe, but the thing is, we're biting. We're that's reality, right? That's the situation we're in. That is the thing we are up against, and it's not going to give up easy because it never does. If it's worthwhile, if it's a worthy quest, and it's not going to give up easy, right? So we're going to have to fight the whole way, and that's why it's courageous. And then. So the big thing here is like educated risks are expected and required. Not everything is going to work out as expected. Try a small test. Throw away the first couple tries. Just throw them away. It's fine. One of the things I'm recommending in this is we build a couple MVPs, not just one, and try and extend it. That's really just a way to wreck your company, by the way. So I've been at these companies that tried this. It's like, no, but it's working so much. But you only work with 5,000 people max, and it starts to break down and lose people's data. Can't you put it together faster? It's like, no, we can't. We can build it, throw it away, build another one. Build that one. Not the most amazing thing ever one. That one thing, just build it again. Try and make it as closer to that thing without going, oh, don't extend, make it for everything. A platform for all things. Like, no, just do that one thing, okay? Do that one thing, just do it again. I don't know why this is such a mystery. It's like, oh my God, you can't do this. It's like, what did we do in school? Like, you do a rough draft, and then you do another draft, and then you do another draft, and by the time you get to the third, fourth, fifth one, it's looking pretty solid, man. It looks pretty good. You don't just take the first rough draft and just erase everything, cross out the words, and put other words in. Like, no, don't do that. That's bad. Just start over again. Because what's happening on that rough draft, believe it or not, I know this is hard to believe, is everyone on the team is subconsciously building in, what is this thing supposed to be? And what that process of doing that is your MVP. Is like, okay, that's how we kind of get an idea. And then what you do is then you can systematize it. And everyone's subconscious over all those days and weeks. We're systematizing and subconsciously putting these things into a more crystalline form. And then dealing with all the difficulties and bullshit stuff that didn't quite work out. And then wiping that, realizing all that, taking all those lessons and build another one. And maybe do that again. And at the end of that, you're going to have something super solid. And not a piece of crap that's going to fall over at user 5001. Okay? Like companies I've been at. Okay. And so we have the exploratory development process. We explore as we develop, and we develop as we explore. Business ideas and software patterns intermingle as we sign market fit. Like maybe it's just, okay, I believe in a modular monolith for the back end and functional patterns on the front end as much as possible. I love compose. So like how that works, that's perfect. On the back end, we should build it like each one of the services is going to be a separate service. You can call it a modular monolith. You can look it up. Nothing crazy. But if you build it in a way that you can then, each one of these modular components could be broken out into a service, then it's pre-scaled, right? But you do have to have that discipline. And maybe you don't do it for the MVP. Maybe for the MVP, you just go as fast as possible just to get something up that does the thing. And everything's all intertwinkled and all put together. Everything's direct database access. You throw that away, use the learnings, throw it away, and then you build the module. That's maybe, and then you put that into production, right? That may be a better path to go, a safer path, right? But, what we're trying to do is get the product market fit, not the scaling, all right? We want to get the product, we want to get this thing to someone can use that is using it and we'll pay money to use it so we can keep this thing going where we can be doing it this way, right? And, okay, yes, we're doing tasks and we're having to complete them, and all the PRs and all that stuff. That's all details, right? You can talk about how you want to do that stuff, but it's just one task at a time, right? Okay, that's the whole other thing, right? Business ideas and software patterns intermingled as product market fit, and then plan on throwing that one way is to make it simpler. Every time you're making it simpler, easier to maintain, easier to monitor. All that stuff you worry about, the monitoring, the maintain, all that stuff you can do when you get the market fit, right? And if your MVP is too shaky, throw it away, start another one, right? And if it runs out of time, you run out of time, right? And this is how it goes. So, but if you're making progress, the person that's funding these operations will be super impressed the fact that you're even making any progress at all. And if you're not, well, that's just the way it goes. You saw a cavern that didn't really have a dragon in there. The dragon left. Maybe the dragon's left here. Sorry, you missed out. That's just how it goes sometimes. There's a lot of stuff's luck-based. Roll the dice. But I know that more times you roll the dice, the more likely it is you're going to get yourself the top dragon prize, right? Okay, benefits of ADD. Innovation. By embracing exploration and experimentation, ADD can lead to innovative and creative solutions that would normally be inaccessible, be normally inaccessible by standard methods. If you have your big design up front, even your little design up front, and you don't do this constant feedback thing, you're just ticking off tickets, tick, 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 tick. By the end of it, you're not going to have all the gathering of information that you would have with this. You're going to get just one event or 7 events instead of 40 events, right? So we're trying to maximize that interaction. And a lot of time, I'm just like, sorry, the managers may not be involved. The product managers may not be involved. Sorry, you want a direct connection. You can see the results. You can be on the meeting. Well, I guess, but we kind of just want to just do one-on-one, and it'll show up in our session reports, like our session back data. When we do the demos for everyone on the team, after we get there, we get a little kind of get there a little further. Then we show everybody. Not everybody has to be involved, right? Okay. Motivation. So innovation, motivation, excitement and challenge of adventure motivating for developers. So the fact that we're talking to the customer and we're getting feedback and they're seeing our stuff and we're showing it to them somehow, some way, that's up to you to figure that out. Like, I like to show the UI. I like to show the sketch. I like to show, how things are going to move along I love diagrams. I'm a diagram lover. And the tools now that you can do the mermaid and you do all these different diagramming tools that are editable, that are text-based, that render all that you don't have to draw the diagrams every goddamn time. You can just write the code. I love it. And it makes all that stuff people need, because the people have different ways of learning. They have auditory, they got visual, they got kinesthetic. They need to, they want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to see it. And a lot of times they're not really paying attention until you can give them something solid that they can lock into. And a lot of times all you have to do is show them something, and then it all just comes blurting out that you would have taken 65 questionnaires, right? No, we're showing pictures. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. And some people totally can get into it, and some people can't. And you really want to find the ones that are going to be the early adopters for that stuff. That have a burning desire, burning need, burning issues, right? That's the stuff you want to solve. So problem solving. Okay, so ADD can improve problem solving by skills by teaching developers to think outside the box. When you talk to your customer, they will have all kinds of strange things they want to do, and we'll know ways of getting there that they or kind of we can a lot of times just start to get an insight how they thinking about stuff. I did 2 years on tech support at that Silicon Beach software company. That's how I got in the door on that place. I've been programming for a while, but I didn't have the skill level to be a developer at that point. So I did tech support, and I was 19, 20 years old. So I was doing tech support, and man, I learned a lot about customers and how they think about their problems. And a lot of times they don't only have good solutions, and we have all solution based. The solutions just come pouring out of us. We have too many solutions, right? So by talking to people often and showing them things and getting the feedback is the way to go, right? And it's super fun. Honestly, I think it's a blast. Okay, so ideas on how to implement ADD. So the epic quest cycle. So you said an epic quest destination. So do you have somebody somehow has figured out there's a dragon and some gold in here. There's the big prizes up here. I've seen the entrance. And you plan the campaigns, like how are we gonna get up there? How are we gonna get up there from where we're at? What are we gonna do? Like what are some of the high level tasks, things we have to get through? Some of the technical stuff, we're gonna figure that out along the way, right? And then define the session worthy tasks. So you break the campaign down into tasks and maybe subtasks. And each one of those things is a worthy. They're all worthy tasks. They're not shitty crap, whatever tasks. There's things that we need experiments to run to get data to get us know where we want to go next. Okay. And collaborate and share. So one of the things I'm going to talk about in some of the methodology, because this is about almost over, is passive screen sharing. And how that can help remote teams, because I'm assuming a lot of these companies are going to be remote. If it's on premise, even then, the passive screen sharing is pretty amazing for getting people just to like look at other people's work, and while they're thinking about something, and watch somebody else's wheels turning. Okay, so and also experience point distribution, which I'm going to get into experience points. Encourage group participation and collaboration. Okay, so then we reflect and learn. So at the end of each one of these sessions, which could be a week, 2 weeks, 10 days, you can set these. It doesn't have to be a set sequence, right? It can be just. We do need a planning time, and we do need like a little bit of regrouping, or it doesn't have to be as formal or as like you have to do it like this, like Scrum, like you have to do it like this. You have to do all these different meetings. Like no, you don't have to do all. The team can decide all these things. There's times in the project where you need to have more meetings, and there's times when it's like meetings are we just want to head down. We got it already. We just want to do these things and deal with these bugs or whatever, and we just need to get there, right? That's that final push when the dragon's literally whipping its tail at you and breathing fire at you and wiping out some of your guys because you're overdoing it a little too much. Yeah, I mean, you're coming to the end and people are getting stressed and the expectations aren't quite what you thought they would be. You have to fight that guy. Yeah, that's a rough period, but that's the push to get it done. And reflect and learn. Okay, so again, this just kind of naturally happens that people just want to like see the goal and like, yes, we're almost there. And they want to push a little hard. So, but you got to be careful. Make sure that's the kind of time when you do need the rest the most. I know it's hard, but people just like needs to be pushed on that. So I'm gonna get into this next section in the next video about some things to consider on how you run these campaigns, and kind of some different components. Yeah. So I'm Chris Athanas, and this is adventure-driven development, and I'll talk to you soon.